Right, listen up. Mikey Moore's future is getting tugged back towards Tottenham, and the noise down south is getting louder for Rangers to be left empty-handed. At the same time, Celtic are crawling into the Luke Graham race like they always do, trying to spoil business they didn't even start. And then there's Connor Barron. Barry Ferguson says he was Rangers' best player before that injury, and now his return could blow the midfield wide open and force a ruthless decision. So now we've got pundits down south chirping that Spurs should bring Mikey Moore back. Aye, of course they should. Look at their state. Tottenham have been absolute rubbish in the Premier League, stumbling about like they've forgotten what a proper football club looks like. And you think they'll happily let a kid who's actually improving every week just stay up here? Come on. Here's the truth. Mikey Moore has come to Rangers, and in a few months, he's developed more than he would in years sitting on a bench in North London. That's not opinion. That's what happens when you play at Ibrox, with expectation, with pressure, with a crowd that demands you grow up fast or you get found out. He's handled it. He's thrived. And that's exactly why Spurs will want him back. They've got players likely to leave in a hurry, they're carrying injuries, the squad looks unbalanced, and the whole place has that smell of a club needing a rebuild. So if they've got a young attacker out on loan who's actually delivering and learning the hard way, why would they sell him to us? Why would they even loan him again for another year? I'd be stunned. Absolutely stunned. That's why Rangers need to stop messing about with polite requests and maybe deals. If you want him, you push for a contract with an obligation to buy. Not an option. An obligation. You set the targets, appearances, contributions, whatever it is. If he hits the numbers, the deal triggers, and he's ours. Because if we leave it as a friendly conversation, Spurs will take him back the second it suits them, and they'll act like they're doing us a favor. And let's be honest, if their own ex-boss is already saying, bring him back, he's better than what you've got, that tells you everything they've noticed. They've seen what Rangers have done to him. So tell me this, with Tottenham in a mess and players heading for the exit, do you really believe they'll hand us a talent like Moore on a permanent deal or even another easy loan? Quick one. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Aye, get it done. Help us get proper Rangers opinions in front of more Bears. Here we go again. The usual noise starts up the minute Rangers clock onto a Scottish lad who can actually defend. And suddenly, Celtic are in the race. Aye, imagine that. They've seen Luke Graham doing the basics properly at Dundee, and now they want to hover like flies around a pie. So the story is this. Rangers have been tracking Dundee centre-half Luke Graham for a while. Left-footed, young, composed, Scotland U21s. And he's putting up the kind of numbers you want from a defender. Blocks, interceptions, doing his job. No circus, no nonsense. And now you've got reports saying Dundee want £2 million to £2.5 million, with English clubs sniffing about as well. Brentford, Portsmouth, the rest, that's the market now. And Rangers, we actually need bodies in there. We've had centre-halves on loan, contracts running down, lads being shifted about out of position just to get through games. Sterling and Tavernier playing centre-back at times because the squad's been left thin. That's not planning, that's scraping by. So for Rangers, Graham isn't some wee luxury signing. He's a priority, a proper squad-building move. Scottish Premiership ready, homegrown for Europe, and he's already shown he can handle a big stage. That's why Dan Purdy's been scouting him. That's why people inside the game are talking about him like he's got a higher ceiling. Now, here's the part that should make your blood boil. The moment Rangers are serious, Celtic try to stick their nose in. Not because they've got a plan, because they can't stand the idea of Rangers doing smart business in this league. Their defense has been leaking goals, so they're panicking. They need cover, and they'd love to block us at the same time. Two birds, one stone. That's how they operate. Rangers need to put the foot right through the floor on this one. Get the offer in early, make it clear, and don't let it turn into a summer-long pantomime where Dundee play both sides and the fee climbs while we monitor. Enough is enough with that. If Graham's the lad, act like Rangers. Move like Rangers. Barron being out has cost us, and anybody pretending otherwise either wasn't watching or doesn't understand midfield battles in Scotland. Barry Ferguson's come out and said it plain. Connor Barron was Rangers' best player before that injury at Ibrox. Not one of, the best. And coming from Ferguson, a man who knows what a proper Rangers midfielder looks like, that's not a throwaway line. He said the boy was a sponge, desperate to learn, dominating the middle of the park. That's the standard. That's what we've been crying out for. Now look at what's happened since January. We brought bodies in, fair enough. New faces, big talk, and one or two have shown flashes. But you saw it in that last derby. First half, we were on top. Second half, we got bullied. Simple as that. Couldn't keep the ball, couldn't win the key moments, and we ended up chasing shadows while they pushed higher and higher. That's what happens when you lose control in midfield. And here's the headache for Roll. Barron's nearly back. He's been pushing in rehab, and the manager's already hinted he could be training and maybe ready soon. So when he's fit, he doesn't come back to sit and clap. He comes back because he sets the tempo. He bites, he presses, he gives you that edge Rangers midfields used to have as standard, not as a bonus. Which means somebody misses out. That's football. If a midfielder's been sloppy, if he's been getting turned, losing duels, coughing up possession, then he's on notice. I don't care what his name is or how many nice passes he played last month. Rangers is about authority in the middle of the pitch. That's where titles are won and lost in this league. So the question is, do we bring Barron'S straight back in for the cup tie and lay down a marker? Or do we let the same soft second half nonsense happen again and act surprised? Right, if you've enjoyed this, hit the like button and leave a comment below. Tell me what you make of Moore, Graham, and Barron, and whether the club's doing enough. And if you want more Rangers talk that actually tells it like it is, get it shared with the Bears.